G'day everyone, Rachel here from Bookpiles. Welcome to my reading wrap-up for February. I was aiming to do a historathon and, as an aside, tick off any squares that applied for historical fictionathon. Historathon was run by the Curly Reader and Science Mama. I'm checking my notes. And historical fictionathon was run by Call Me After Coffee. My main focus was historathon, and if I got any squares for the other, I was happy. I had 5 books earmarked to cover 8 of the 9 squares. The 9th square being the group read, which was The Yellow Bird Sings, a World War II book, which didn't really float my boat, so I wasn't aiming to try and find it at the library and read it. So I was aiming for 8 out of 9, and I got 7 out of 9. For the historical fictionathon, which was an aside, I wasn't focusing on it. It had 25 squares to cross off. I'll show you in a moment. And I managed to get, with the 4 books I read, I managed to get 12 of the 25 squares. So that was pretty good, given that it wasn't what I was focusing on. It was just, if I hit it, I'll take it sort of thing. So let's go through and talk about what I read. Firstly, the book I didn't read was The Journal of Kelly Wade, which is a reread for me. And it was for 2 prompts. It was for the name on the cover and no people on the cover. But I managed to get no people on the cover with a different book. So, okay, I'm going to hopefully insert a clip here where I talked about the 2 library books that I read, because they've now gone back to the library. So hopefully here is old me telling you about the other books. Hi again, it's me. Hopefully I'm inserting this into a video. I have to take my library books back, as I should have already said. This is me testing my technological skills. I've got 2 library books that need to go back in a couple of days, so I'm going to do my review of them now while I can actually physically hold you a book, or hold a book up rather. So, the first book I have and that I read is America's First Daughter by Stephanie Dray and Laura Camoe, something like that. This is a fictional account of Martha Jefferson Randolph, Thomas Jefferson's daughter, based on historical records. So the authors have read, I would say, primarily family letters, Thomas Jefferson's, hers and probably her family's letters, and from that have extrapolated her story, her life story. I found it really interesting. I loved it so much that I got it read in 2 days. It is the best part of 500 pages long, and I found it very easy to read. I found it very engaging. I wanted to know what was going on. I did sometimes question the storylines in my head, but when you get to the end of the book, there is actually a chapter where they talk about why they go off on the storylines they go off on, and it's all based on historical records. There'll be a sentence or a line somewhere, and from that they'll develop a storyline. So I'm right in thinking there's nothing completely fictitious made up in this story. All the storylines about her life, everything that they share, is based on historical fact, even though it's a fictional account. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I explained that right. I love this so much that I've given it 5 stars, and even though it's a library book, and I could probably borrow it again when I want, I'm going to buy my own copy. It also has a feature that I love in books, and that is that when you open the book, it lays like that. You've got no books floating up. I wonder if I can show you in this version, this book. See, yeah. But you do that with Martha, and she just lays. I love that in books. So, if you're interested in history, in presidential history, in I guess early Americana, those sorts of things, this is really engaging. It's not heavily political in any way, shape or form. It's her life. It's not her father's life. Obviously he's in the book because he was a very central character to her. But I just found it really fascinating. And I would recommend it to any historical buffs. The second book I got from the library and read is Homegoing by Gyasi. Oh dear, I used to be able to say it right. Anyway, this is the story. My arm is getting sore holding a book up. That's how pathetic I am. This book follows the story of two half-sisters and their descendants through 7 generations. It's not a thick book. It comes in at just pushing literally 300 pages. So it follows the story of the girls from where they were on I'm going to do it again. I'm going to say Ghana. I know eventually Ghana features in the book, and the author is from Ghana. That is why I keep saying that. It follows the girls from their life in Africa. One is sold into slavery and ends up in America, and the other stays in their home region in Africa. And then it follows their descendants all the way for 7 generations. I found it really interesting. Again, it was another book I read in 2 days because I just wanted to keep knowing what was going on. It was harrowing at times. It made you angry at times. But overall, I just found it really engaging and really interesting. That being said, I was frustrated. Sometimes there was between one generation and the next, so each chapter was a person in the generation, and it alternated from each side. So one girl, the other girl, then her descendant, and on and on. Sometimes between one generation and the next it was 25 years, and that frustrated me. How did they get from where they were? And then you might get one sentence that said it. I came away wanting more. I felt like this could have been a bigger book, but maybe I'm missing the point of that. She obviously in 300 pages and 7 generations times 2, she had to be brief, but I wanted more. I wanted to know more about how they got from A to B or anything like that. Very fascinating read. You know, there but for the grace of God, how one got sold into slavery, and the other just mere feet away living the life of luxury. Just really interesting. Yeah, so again, I actually read both of these for historathon, and they both but the 2 of them crossed off 4 of the prompts, which I don't have to hand, but I'll hopefully this is a challenge for you, Rachel, is hopefully I will have said what prompts when I do the reading wrap up. We have to hope, because I'm inserting this into a video. Anyway, right, no more waffle. I shall hand you back to later in the month, Rachel. Okay, so hopefully that has worked. I will check it back, otherwise I'll have to refilm and insert pictures. So after Homegoing, I read the second book in the Bridgeton series, The Viscount Who Loved Me, and this crossed off the historical fiction subgenre, which was historical romance. My aim is to work through the Bridgetons. I have actually read the first 3, but the third one, which is the second on that pile there, where's my finger there, I read 2 years ago, so I will actually reread that. So I read book 1 in January, and it was okay. It was nowhere near as great as book 3 in my mind. Book 2 was far, far better than book 1. I really enjoyed this. This is Anthony and Kate's story. It's great that you've got to check the back. I did read it a few weeks ago. And I really enjoyed this. This was a hate to love. There was it humour? I felt there was a bit of humour going on. Just a nice love story. Yeah, I'm not going to do it justice. It crossed off a square. It got me reading a Bridgerton, which is a goal. I want to read them before I watch any of the Netflix. Yeah, so yeah. Hopeless. The fourth book I read was Christmas at Canton. I can't put a picture there yet, I'm still learning that. It'll be inserted. And that actually ended up crossing off 2 prompts because there are no people on the cover of that book, I discovered when I was looking at it. So I read that on my Kindle, so that also crossed off for me reading an ebook. And yeah, what did I think of that? It was, I think I need to delve a little bit deeper, a Christian romance. There was quite a lot of references to God or religion, but not, for someone like me who is not a religious person, it wasn't overbearing. So I could read the book. I didn't think, oh, for goodness sake, close it and get rid of it. I read the whole story. I was okay with the amount of religion that was in it. I wouldn't want it anymore. Just a nice little love story. There was a little bit in the middle where you went, oh, how's this going to work out? Which surprised me because I thought it was going to be pretty tame all the way through. And it's the story of a widowed woman with a young child, pregnant with her second child, who is on the verge of being evicted from the family home because just no money. She is let go from her job. There's no money. It's after or during the Civil War. I'm not sure of my wars in America. And it's on the ebook, so I can't even read the back. And so she goes and seeks a job, and things just fall into place for her, and everything works out, and she has a really good experience, and she meets a bloke, and it's all very good. And it ended up being quite a nice read, even though it was a pretty clean Christian romance. So, and it crossed 2 squares off, which I thought it was only going to cross 1. So it crossed off, if I said or didn't say, repeating myself, set in winter, because it was set at Christmas time in America, which is winter, and no people on the cover. So that is my lot for historathon. So the 2 that I didn't cross off in the end were the group read, which I mentioned, and a person's name on the cover. So that's my page in the end. And the page for the historical fictionathon, which was, I got to 12 of the 25 squares. So not bad at all. Okay, hopefully that all works out with the other clip that I've inserted. I will make sure it's all okay, and I will get this uploaded, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks everyone.